is Jason Averbook, and I am joined today on OurTime by one of my favorite people in the world, William Tincup. William, are you there?
I am indeed, brother. How are you?
I am great. Hey, thanks for joining. I have made this commitment starting July 1st to talk to someone once a day that's smarter than me. And you happen to be the lucky guy today that I'm talking to that's smarter than me. So for the next 20, 25 minutes or so, I just want to chat about what's going on in the world and, how life is.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Great commitment, too. Great idea to kind of broaden your universe. That's a good challenge. Even half-year challenge. We
all get so busy that we forget that we forget some of the people in our lives. So it's so exciting to get to do this. And hey, Jess Von Bank just chimed in and said she's listening. So no pressure, right?
No pressure. She's wonderful. She's super wonderful.
Totally. So hey, wanted to get a little time with you to catch up and say what's going on in the world of William Tincup. I've known you for almost as long as I've been in this HR tech space, and you've been doing everything from helping vendors market their solutions to helping vendors think about what requirements to build into their solutions to truly helping enterprises make decisions about what solutions to leverage. So I wanted to catch up with you and understand what's going on in your world today and kind of what are some of the things that when you get out of bed in the morning, besides your wife and your kids, excites you about being alive?
Yeah, I think that we've keyed into a really interesting era now where more people are talking about experience. The candidate experience, that was a couple of years ago that was avant-garde, and people were talking about it, and it was important, and is important. And I think now we're talking a little bit more about the employee experience. What do we want our employees to feel, to smell, to experience? Like, what is that experience that we want them to have on a day in, day out basis? And I think it carries forward through to alumni. When someone leaves our firm, what experience do we want them to have, et cetera. So I kind of like this era where we're talking about, even though we're really talking about AI and machine learning and NLP and, all these, technical advancements, we're also at the exact same time talking about, how we want people to experience work. So I'm excited. I don't think anybody's got the answers, or, all the answers at least. And I don't think one vendor has got cornered the market on experience. So I think it's going to be kind of an interesting tapestry of people kind of clashing and bouncing ideas off each other and kind of what is the experience that we should have at Averbook.
Why do you think, we've been talking about HR tech forever, right? Like, I'll never forget sitting in your offices in Fort Worth, Texas, talking about HR tech, and that was probably 20 years ago. Like, why the change from HR tech to experience? I have my views on it that the digital world has overtaken the non-digital world. But, I'd love your thoughts on why you think everyone's talking about experience now.
Well, I think, there's probably a lot of things come together to make, the reason for why we're, back to humanity, if you will, back to experience, back to something that's non-zeros and ones. I think the experience that we have with our mobile phones has fundamentally changed the way our brain works. And we have an experience with our mobile phone, or iPads, if you want to go tablets and things like that. But we have an experience where if something doesn't work, we jettison it really quickly. Like if you look down at your phone, if an app doesn't work, you uninstall that thing, you X out of it really quickly.
Yeah.
So your loyalty to an application is zero.
How often do you go back to see if it got better?
Very rarely.
Yeah.
Very rarely. Because, you get one bite of the apple. And so I think that we probably had an overemphasis on technology to begin with, that the technology was going to solve the problem. And we minimized the human experience. And now it's kind of come a little bit full circle to where the human experience is more important, and making sure that humans get out of it. Employees, let's just talk like that. Employees, managers, hiring managers, whatever, they get out of it what they need to get out of it. And if they don't, they're going to exit out of the software, because the software is not the solution. Process and people are the solution. Technology is the last thing that we should. And it's funny because we're both HR technologists and experts in HR technology. It's kind of funny to think like this, but really it's about getting your process right. Any process, onboarding, compensation, succession, recruiting, sourcing, whatever. Getting the process right, getting the people right, focusing on their experience, and then discussing what technology needs to be applied, where and how, and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I envision a day, and I haven't quite fully envisioned it. I mean, sometimes I get on little LSD type kicks in my brain, even though I've never really done the drug in my life. But where there is no more HR technology,
right?
Really what we're doing is deploying capabilities, and we're deploying those capabilities digitally. But we don't have this thing called HR technology anymore that is its own class. Because it drives me crazy when people say, hey, we're focusing on engagement or we're focusing on culture, but yet we don't have any money for HR technology. And I think that's crazy, to think about in today's world.
Well, it's probably crazy to see at the very beginning. Why was there ever a creation of HR technology? Why wasn't it just technology or business technology? If you want to kind of go broader than that, because you could see maybe a delineation between consumer technology or nonprofit technology and business technology. But why was there ever the creation or separation and siloization? Probably not a word.
It works.
I'm gonna go on Urban Dictionary and make it up real quick.
Yeah.
So why was that ever done? Like, why did we ever buy into the fact that those things were different, and why would we buy into that now?
Wow. Do you know that there actually is a word, Urban Dictionary, on siloization?
I'm scared to ask.
Act or process of placing identical data into a magnitude of separate electronic places or electronic containers, resulting in inefficiency.
Well, no. Okay, then that works. Because
that was created July 31st, 2012 by Wolfman, which might be your new nickname. Wolfman, maybe that was you and you just forgot about it.
I've been called many things, Jason, and that might be one of the things I've been called. But, it's funny because we look backwards now and we look at HR tech and we're like, well, why? That's kind of cute, but really, what's the delineation between finance and operations and sales and marketing and HR? And why do we have these delineations, even between something as like HR and recruiting? Why do we have a delineation between the two? Why is there technology and budgets that are for the two of those areas? Why isn't just, we need technology. There's no one on the planet that's going to say that we don't need software, but we need to get our process. I think we need to get our experience and our people right, and then it's just technology. It's just software, and getting the software right after the fact. I like your thought. I really do like your thought of that it is just technology in general, not HR technology.
So you've been known, once again, probably as many things, but, you've been known as someone who's been very heavy on the recruiting or the talent acquisition side of the house, and not necessarily as focused on some of the, other capabilities in the HR side of the house. And specifically, you've talked a lot about candidate experience, but I haven't heard you talk a lot about employee experience or workforce experience. Do you think those two will ever come together, or do you think the siloization, how's that, of the two functions is just so disparate that we'll always break them apart?
I have a great hope, actually, that the three, if you think about a human being having a relationship with a company, you're either a candidate, an employee, or an alumni. That's it. One of those three with any company in the world. And so the transparency that Google, Glassdoor, Indeed, LinkedIn, etc., and Twitter, you want to go that far, has created is we can't hide the two. The silos used to not, we could hide like what our recruiting experience or candidate experience. If we didn't treat you really well as a candidate, there's really nothing you could do. There was no real ramifications for our behavior. Now there is. Everyone has a Twitter account. Everyone's on Glassdoor. Everyone's on Yelp. And so, if it's a consumer company, like say, Walmart, and you have a bad experience as a candidate, not only do you have a bad experience as a candidate, that actually affects how you shop. Now it affects the Walmart in a different way, because that person would say that they had a bad experience as a candidate, but then they'd tell all their, friends and neighbors and everyone else not to shop there. So I have great hope, actually, Jason, that we will connect these dots because of societal pressure and transparency, that people will be forced into doing the right thing. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I wish people would just kind of come to that on their own, like, oh, okay, this is the right thing. Let's do that. But sometimes I think you have to, maybe with a pitchfork, focus people on doing the right thing. And I think that I believe that because of that transparency, people coming in as candidates know more about their hiring manager, knowing more about their company, knowing more about the job and what's next and all that stuff. I think that creates a better experience for them.
No, I totally agree. And, one of the reasons that we're using this technology that we're using today is allowing people to ask questions and become transparent in the digital world. So, on that note, I know there's some people on the phone that might want to ask questions. So feel free to click on the Go Live button and you can ask a live question, or if you don't want to, you can just type in your question, in the box there, and we'll make sure that we get it on the air. But for those willing to go live, would love to hear your voice. So I have another question for you, and it's funny, as I was just looking at Twitter, and I'm not going to read the tweet exactly because it may give away what it says, but it basically was a tweet that just said, I was just talking to one of the recruiters, and they love blah, blah, blah recruiting. And blah, blah, blah in that case was the name of a vendor. But, one of the things that, every organization that we go into to build digital strategies and digital roadmaps, we hear all the time is, we hate our applicant tracking system. We hate our applicant tracking system. We hate our applicant tracking system. And I know that you've done a lot of, studying of this and talking to recruiters as to why that is. And I'm going to share my kind of thought on it, and then I'll let you respond, and yours is maybe much better than mine, I know. But, I think that recruiters, like salespeople, just want to get shit done. Excuse my French. And by putting data into a recruiting system or a talent acquisition system, it slows them down. And that's why I don't think they like talent acquisition systems. And they put in place processes that they don't want to follow. But I'd love your thoughts as to my premise there.
No, your premise is it's really closer to spot on than not, because it's at Salesforce.com. It's why the same reason that salespeople don't really love Salesforce.com, even though it's the best Salesforce management software out there, It's because it creates transparency. It creates a level of transparency of what you're doing, the actions of a salesperson. So how many calls did you make? How many emails did you send? How'd you follow up with so-and-so? Like, it creates this transparency, and salespeople don't like that. Recruiters also don't like that. And it's also a lot of time. It's not as intuitive. I think that's changing. So I think we're actually going to get to see the component of time with all of the chatbots and also voice being able to that not being the barrier, because that is a barrier. You're right about that now, both in sales and recruiting. It's like I have to log into the thing and then go put in the update about the thing, and no one likes doing that. No, salespeople don't like doing that. Corporate recruiters don't like doing that. No one likes doing it. Sourcers don't like doing it. No one likes doing that. But I believe with chatbots and with voice, if I could just say, hey, move Angie to interviewed and schedule my next meeting with her, and then combination of voice, and chatbots being able to take over those tasks, I think give the recruiter, give the salesperson back their time. So I think that's going to be less of an issue in the future. So I have great hope there. But to your original question, is a time-honored tradition for recruiters.
I mean, is it a time-honored tradition just for recruiters to hate
That's
talent
right.
acquisition system?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's a time-honored tradition. In fact, if you're a corporate recruiter, you've never complained about your ATS or CRM or anything related to software, then really you're a saint. There's something you could get out of the business and go and work for God, because you clearly are not in the right profession. It's just what we do. We complain because it's not intuitive. It takes too long. There's too many clicks. It's double entry here. It doesn't scan the resume that way. It's just what we do. We complain about the recruiting solutions, and we all do it. Again, that's something. It doesn't matter if we're talking about Brass Ring or Taleo Enterprise, or pick any of your great point solutions like Greenhouse or Lever or JobBite or iSIMS or whatever. There's going to be people that complain, but by and large, they complain like I live in Texas. Okay, when I walk out, it's 115 degrees right now. But I walk out to get in my black Mini. So first of all, I don't know why I bought a black car, but I did. All right, so there you go. When I walk out and get in my black Mini with leather seats, it's going to be hot as Hades. And therefore, about a minute and a half, I'm going to be really angry. Like, what was I thinking? What am I doing? Why is it so hot? Blah blah blah. And then I'll let it go. I'll turn on some music. I'll get distracted, and I'll go on about my life. So I think it's something that recruiters do, but it doesn't consume them. It doesn't get in the way of a job.
Well, I have a follow-up to that, but there's someone that wants to go on the air here, so I'm going to test our technology and see if I can get them on. Hold on one second.
Sure.
Hi, you're on the air with Jason and William. Who's this?
It's Molly Lombardi.
Oh, Molly Lombardi.
Figured I'd harass you guys.
William, do you have a question for William in his besides how hot his car is right now?
Yeah. And why he didn't get a lighter color interior? I know.
Exactly.
William, I totally agree with you. If you don't complain about, if you even know the name of your HR software, it probably means something went wrong, right? If you don't know the name of it or what it does or how it operates, it means it's doing its job, right? So where do you think the responsibility lies in terms of the vendors making it more intuitive and the organization actually realizing that they have to tell people what the reasoning is behind it and the change management behind it? Where do you think sort of the responsibility lies in making it more usable and making it more effective?
Molly, this is doubles tennis. If you want to win in doubles tables tennis, ping pong, or tennis in general, you just hit it down the middle. and you just continue to hit it down the middle, and at one point, one of the other players thinks that the other player has it. It's a combination of responsibilities between internal change management, organizational development people, and the vendor. I think you should have a culture of no surprises. So if you're moving from Ceridian to Ultimate Software, okay, you're making that move. That's a big move, and you're going to want to make sure you get it right. Those are both great companies. But you want to make it get right. There should be no surprises. Like, you should walk people through, here's what the decision was, here's why we made it, here's what we're going to do, here's how we're going to communicate, here's how we're going to test, here's how we're going to make sure that everything goes well, here's how we're going to train, which is most important, and here's how we're going to continue to make sure that you're competent in the software. And again, no surprises. The working with the vendor, when vendors say the word intuitive, my spidey sense goes wackadoodle, because it's usually code for, well, it's like Google. It's so intuitive. It's a box, and we don't need to explain anything, which is absolutely incorrect. It's lazy, because the delta of what was done and what will be done is still change. You still have to train people on the change. So when a vendor says intuitive, intuitive like breathing air. Like, I'm a human being. I have blood in my veins, and I breathe air. Like, I don't want to hear the word intuitive, because it is a lazy way of saying that the software is easy to use. I'll determine if the software is easy to use. I don't need a vendor telling me that it's intuitive. And worse than that, I don't need it as an excuse not to train. Because that's what it's usually being used as, Molly, as an excuse not to invest in training employees as to how to actually use software.
Yeah, I love that, because I think you're absolutely right. Not a lot of companies are mature enough to have that transparency to say this is why and this is what and this is what you need to do. They sort of spring it on people and hope they adapt. So. Yeah,
well, and again, no surprises. Like, we shouldn't have surprises. None of these things are like we woke up on a Tuesday and said, okay, we're going to switch out our payroll system tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Next week's payroll is on new system.
We're an agile shop. We're going to change our payroll, but at lunchtime. No, come on. These things take time, money, energy, and a lot of smart people to think about critically, why we're doing something and what are the ramifications, etc. So why not include people in not necessarily the decision, but why not include them into why the decision was made? There's no downside to that.
Yeah. Great. Thanks,
Molly,
guys.
thanks so much for calling in.
Thank you, Molly.
Hey, William, back to the point that, and this kind of goes along with the same discussion we were just having. Like, so when people hate is such a strong word that I hate using it even. But when people hate their talent acquisition solution, one of the things I try to do is convince them not to make a change. Right? Because usually if they hate their talent acquisition system, it's not as much the talent acquisition system as it is the process or the people that are using it. And therefore, when they go live with something else, they're going to have the same result. But, I'd love your thoughts on that, because there's a lot of people shopping today for talent acquisition systems. And while we don't want to say don't shop, what do you think is the reason that?
Well, your intuition is again really spot on, because it's the same reason that second marriages fail. We have a divorce rate in America. I think it's close to 55% now in first marriages, and the divorce rate is much higher for second marriages, because we take the baggage of our first marriage into the second marriage, generally speaking. So when you apply that to recruiting software, we're not really dealing with the core issues of process and the core issues of, maybe Jimmy or Tammy is not really as good as what we thought they were. And it isn't as easy as moving from job fight to iSIMS that then make Jimmy and Tammy competent. So I think I think you're right. I think the first thing you should do is say, first of all, why are we changing? You know, and dig into why are we getting divorced? Like, what's really going on here? And is this solvable? Is this something that we can recover from? Should we focus more on the brokenness of our process, or possibly the retraining of our people, training or retraining, and making sure that they're as competent as they can be in the software? And then if that doesn't work, well, maybe change is the right answer.
Yep.
But let's not rush into the decision to change just for change's sake. I think you should just like divorce. I mean, I'm gonna sound like a really conservative Catholic by saying this, but you know, I think divorce is too easy, and I know that I'm gonna catch some flack for this, but I don't think there should be a $99 divorce.
Yeah.
If you decide to marry someone, and ups and downs and this and that, and you're gonna make all kinds of mistakes and this, that, and the other. Like, okay, like every marriage, got it.
Yeah.
But I don't think there should be an easy way out. I think you should be forced to actually try and fix it if you can. And again, if it's unfixable, I'm not sure that's the right way to use that word.
Yeah.
But if it's just broken beyond repair, then okay, then go do something different. But I think the what you're catching, the heat of people wanting to change. I think they want to change because they feel like they're missing something else. I think the FOMO. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go drop a little FOMO on you. But I think that's what's going on is they think that they're missing by not using another solution. They're missing something, and they're not really dealing with the problems that they have either in process or people.
That's great. Hey, William, our time's gone really, really fast here, but I want to ask you one last question.
Sure.
What are you doing this summer to learn? What are you doing to make yourself a better person this summer?
That's a great question. Well, I'd say, you know, I'd love for people to, you know, think highly of me, and I'm going to read business books or write poetry, this, that, and the other. Truth is, I'm going to go to the beach with my family and about 4 or 5 other families that I like. And I'm going to smoke cigars every night and drink scotch every night. And I'm going to disconnect. And by disconnecting, because I'm like you and like a lot of people like us, I'm connected so much that I don't have time to think. And that's my biggest failure is I don't give myself. I remember reading about some of the best writers in the world always read the paper in the morning, give themselves 3 or 4 hours, they write, and then they go do life. And I've always kind of respected that model. I've never been able to do it, but I've always respected that model. The way I learn is by disconnecting and not thinking about, you know, the things that everyone else is thinking about. I try to think about things that I need to be thinking about, that I just don't give myself the time to. And so I think my investment in me this summer is, you know, I'll work on my savage tan, and no one wants to see that. I'll work on my savage tan, and I'll give myself some time to think. And I think in doing so, I'll come out the other side with some pretty good ideas.
Yeah, I love that. Well, hey, I'll have to be back. We'll have to get together back in the fall and see what comes out the other end after the summer on the beach.
Sounds great, and I'll see you in India here in a couple of weeks.
You will. I can't wait. So, William, thanks for joining. Once again, just continues to prove my point every day that there are tons and tons of people to learn from in the world, and I thank you for being one of my friends in the space.
My special pleasure. Appreciate you having on me.
Hey, thanks. Talk soon.
Right.
Bye-bye.